Hey, this is Galen with Markerr, and today we are going to be exploring rent trends. So you can see today is around the end of April, and what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking a deeper dive into the markets platform and how to pull out some of the most valuable data that we have to look at trends. So you can see that there's a number of different drop-down options that you have here. Mean rent, we're going to look at the rent forecast. We're going to look at some of the historical changes over the past year. And if you come down here, you can select any number of different metrics. So if you want to look at different bedroom types, one, two, or three different types of bedroom sites, we also slice and dice things by class. So if you want to take a deeper dive into what's happening for Class A rent specifically, that is also one of the options. I'm going to add in the month over month. What you'll notice is that it'll add right here. The other thing that I want to do is we also cover single family rent. So what I want to do is I want to throw in a compare and contrast later in this video. And so I'm going to add in the mean rent on the SFR side of things. And I'll probably also put in a change metric so I can see what that change is. Call it over the last year as well. Now, if you guys haven't seen this, this is our markets dashboard. There is a heat-based map. The other thing you'll note here is a map. Here is a table. We're going to jump over to the table view here. Now, you'll notice we cover about 900 different markets here. Really, what I like to do is filter this. So you can filter by any one of these metrics, any way that you add metrics over here. I'm going to say greater than 500,000 folks. You'll see that brings it down to about just over 100 different MSAs that we're going to be covering here. So MSA over here, other metrics here. If you delete these, we're going to keep in the household income. Later, I want to look at some of the rent to income ratio trends. But there's a population metric, and here are those same metrics. So we can sort from high to low. Look at exactly which markets have the highest mean rent. Also want to take a deeper dive into this. Really, when I look at these things, I like to look at, call it the top 10 and bottom 10 markets, see exactly where the growth is coming from. So it looks like Allentown. Looks like a couple of areas kind of in the Rust Belt are still performing quite well. Now, on the flip side, curious to see Akron, Albany, Atlanta. Interestingly, still see some markets like Austin really filter the correct way. Austin, we're seeing some softness in the condo market in Florida as well. So interesting to see that happening on the rent side as well. So some previously high flying markets down here. Now, I'm also curious to see what's happening on a month over month basis. So this filtering tool is really a quick and easy way to understand exactly what's happening for whatever specific metrics you want to select. You can also filter this any way that you want. Let's see. So Chicago, Portland, Providence are the top three. Interestingly, seeing some Bay Area, another gateway market in Boston doing well. Let's see on the flip side of things. Florida, Scranton, Tucson. Okay, interesting. Now, the other note that I made is we do cover all things single family rental as well. So, whether it's just searching high to low, obviously not every market is as built out on the SFR side of things as they are for institutional multis. And we can also see just which areas are doing well on the single family side of things. and how that compares and contrasts to the actual rent growth on the multi side. Okay, looks like a lot of Rust Belt areas are performing well on the single family side. Now, let's see what areas are experiencing any distress. Top three are Florida, several more Florida up here, a couple areas in Texas. So we certainly are seeing some softness in Florida markets, not just on the multi-family rent side, but also on the single family rent side as well. So that's an interesting call out that we just uncovered. The other one that I do want to note very quickly for you is we do have a 5-year CAGR rent forecast. So it's a quantitative based rent forecast. We can filter things high to low here, see exactly what our model thinks is going to perform the best over the next 5 years. So a couple upstate New York areas, Pennsylvania seems to be projected to do quite well. Okay, that's pretty interesting. Let's see this on the flip side. Denver, Phoenix, Florida, so some Colorado areas. Some of those previously high-flying markets are not projected to do so well based off of our market. Now, one note that I will make is if you click on this MSA, we'll pull up some information on it. You click through, you can see different information get populated for different areas. You can highlight and cover exactly what is projected out. The other interesting thing is you can view histories for different metrics. So if you want to compare and contrast how income has trended over time, you can do that. Same thing with population, rent. You can really kind of get embedded into it and see exactly what's happening. The other thing that I want to focus on the forecast in particular is you can click on view drivers, and it's going to get you really in depth on exactly what is driving things higher and lower. And drop down, see exactly what each metric is projected to do to the forecast for, in this example, an MSA. We also have this down to the zip code level, updated on a monthly basis and pushed out very regularly. So this is going to give you a AI-based summary of exactly why and what is forcing the forecast up and down in this particular area. Go back, and now it's taking you into this specific area. And again, remember, we were in the table view. So you can go back into the table view, and we can go back and filter for greater than 500,000 folks. And we're right back to where we were. The other thing that I do want to note here is you can download all this data directly to Excel, get that quickly into your workflow. So you can see directly downloaded here. So you can do whatever you want once you have this data in Excel and use it for your specific workflow. One example that I do like to look at is looking at how things stack up on a rent income type of ratio. So let's quickly see what that looks like. So we can also sort this high to low. So areas that are most affordable, Huntsville, Alabama, Wichita, Youngstown, Pennsylvania. Interesting. And you can see exactly what the household income as well as the mean rent is in that specific MSA. You can also go the other direction and see which areas are least affordable. Not surprisingly, Miami is at the top here, along with other traditional markets like New York, LA, and Boston, San Diego here as well. So you can see which areas are really constrained on a rent income ratio. Now, really, all this is to show that there is a download functionality here, and you can get as in-depth as you want onto the specific analysis that you are conducting, really just by going into your table, setting the metrics you want, and then clicking download, get you directly to Excel. So that is a really quick demo of how to utilize Markerr's markets dashboard to look at the most recent rent trends at a MSA level, specifically for any market that has above 500,000 folks. And what we did today is we looked into the mean rent on the multi side and some of the year over year changes there, compared and contrasted that to the single family side, and looked at some of the month over month trends for the multi-family rent data. And then we took it a step further. We downloaded some of the data directly to Excel, and then we looked at how the median household income stacked up to the current rent and looked at rent to income ratios. Now, there's nearly unlimited ways that you can look at this. You can get into bedroom counts, you can get into different quality grades. So there's a lot of ways to use this data and Markerr's platform. These are just a couple of examples that I was able to run through today.